Alright guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to share with you why it's not as easy as you believe it is to become a business owner, especially trying to build up a brand or anything in that realm. It is not easy, guys. Everybody says, I want to be a business owner. Everybody says, I want to be a millionaire. Some people say, I want to be a billionaire. First of all, I want you to understand one thing. Becoming a millionaire takes a lot of responsibility, and becoming a billionaire takes even more responsibility. What are you going to do with that money? Who are you going to hand it to? Who are you going to help? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to store it? You see, when you have a lot of money, a lot of people want a lot of it, and everybody constantly tries to take your money. And then you start thinking, and you have to have a very strong mindset to forget about the fact that that person just asked you for money, but that person is your childhood friend, and that person seems like he wants you now for your money. You have to put that aside. You can't let your ego and you can't let your fears work you to the point that now you think that everybody wants you for your money. You have to recognize who was with you before and who is with you after, and who arrived only when you started making money and who was there from the start. So guys, today I'm going to share with you the breakdown, and again, this is going to help you tremendously. By the end of this video, you will get an exact understanding of what it is you need to do to become a top CEO like me, and exactly what it's going to take for you to get to those levels and the sacrifice you must take in order to get there. Now look, this video is not going to turn you into a CEO, but what it will do, you don't want to miss 1 second of this video, because what this video will do is it will give you exactly the understanding of the path you're about to take to becoming an entrepreneur or a successful CEO or a successful business owner or possibly a successful startup company that's going to change the world. But I need your full attention, because this video here is not just going to change you now, but it will determine and change your whole future. Because what you're doing now will determine the next 50 to 60 years of your life. And if at some point in time you believe that everything you're going to do, you're going to love it, guys, I gotta tell you, even if you love your job or if you love your business, at some point in time it gets so stressful that you also will get sick of it. But that is exactly the time where you're leveling up and things are about to skyrocket for you and you're taking off. And yes, you will have a ton of stress. It is not going to be easy, but we don't want easy. We grow like diamonds under pressure. The more that you put pressure on us, the better we become. The more pressure you put on your muscles, the bigger and stronger they become. And this is what you're going to become in the very near future if you will follow everything that I'm teaching. As you know, I do have my coaching that is one-on-one and coaching that is in group coaching, where I had Fearless for a while. We let go of Fearless, and now we are launching the program called Limitless, where again, you will absolutely change your life forever by going through Limitless. We have brought people from the point that they didn't make any money to now making a fortune, buying houses, buying businesses, private equity, know how to leverage debt, how to find investors. That is something that I teach in my programs. And obviously, as you guys probably know, and you've seen all over my social media, that every single person that steps in there and does what they're supposed to do, they become successful. And now we're going to continue to talk about what I wanted to bring you in for, and is for you guys to understand. When you're going to become a top CEO, because I truly believe in you and I know that you guys can make it, I want you to see what it takes to become a top CEO. And let's see if you're ready for this one. I put it on a board for you. All right. And here's something that people just don't understand. what we have here. And again, guys, I'm not the best writer, so I did my best for you guys, but I'm definitely the best businessman out there. And let me show you guys what it takes to have a company. So when you say, I want to own my own company, well, let's talk about startups. 94% of startups die within the first year. They die within the first year, which means what you see here is negative cash flow, which means if they invested a year into this, they also invested money. And when you invest money into a business and it doesn't do well and it shuts down the first year, all of that money is gone. Which means that if they brought investors, investors might want their money back now. And then on top of that, they lost a year. So now they lost a year. Now they are in debt. And this is a life of a person who says, I'm going to go start a startup company. I'm going to make my own business. I'm going to go work for myself. And I don't care because I'm going to be a fucking billionaire like Elon Musk. And I'm going to be like Donald Trump. And I'm going to be like Joe Rogan and start my own podcast and get a $100 million deal from Spotify. No, that shit does not happen. 94%. And these people who start these companies, they're absolute geniuses. I'm not going to tell you, these guys are so smart. They're so smart. They're like computers. I have one of them in my office. He's absolutely one of the smartest people I've ever met. I call him ChatGPT. But he did make it with a lot of companies. And he's actually brought billions of dollars in. But you know what? Sometimes you are that smart and not able to do what he did. Why? Because these really smart people, let me share with you, they're not meant for owning a business. Why? Because they're very analytical. And analytical people, you know what they're good for? Being an architect, being an engineer. They're absolutely great for that. They're not good for owning a business. You know why? Because they think about what might happen and they start adding things up and 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 for them, then guess what? They end up not doing shit. So people who are here, guys, let me tell you, those super genius people that are working on apps and working on startup companies and whatever it might be, a lot of them fail because a lot of them don't have the guts to push harder than anyone. That is the problem. And the business is a failure. It's not a good business. But most of the time it's because the people who are operating it are not that fucking ballsy. And I'll be honest with you because I dealt with a lot of them. I've had many, many companies in my life. I've probably had over 60 companies in my life, in my name, that did extremely well. But the people that I dealt with were not always the best people. So I had to know how to delegate. And some people don't like that word delegating, of course, but it is what it is. You have to know how to delegate. It's the only way for you to get to that much money. If you want to become a millionaire, you have to learn how to delegate because you cannot be at 100 places at the same time. Remember that. So 94% of them, the first year they die. Then you have the 5%. The other 5% here, they die the following year. Literally. They died the following year. Because they pull through and they thought they might do well, but they realized a year later their debt has grown. And they weren't ballsy enough to take on more debt. And they realized that it's going to take way longer than they thought. Because they thought they'll start the business and with a month they'll start making money. Of course, that's exactly what everybody wishes for. I mean, that's like our dream. Let me open up the King Azulay brand and then watch it grow. Yeah, maybe the views and the likes have grown, but when it comes down to making money, that takes time. Do I make money from King Azulay brand? Of course I do. But is it real money, like $100 million a year? No, not yet, but it's gonna get there. But how will it get there? Not from coaching, not from me putting up a bunch of videos and making money off of YouTube. That's not gonna be from there. You wanna get to that $100 million, that's probably gonna be from getting the King Azulay to become a real brand and also sell products. Now, let's move on. 5% died the second year. They gave up, they didn't want to take on more debt, and it is what it is. And then there is the 1%, and the 1% are people that knew that it was going to take somewhere around 3 to 4 years to start making money. 3 to 4 years where they start actually making something. But for those 3 years, the first year, no money in, which means CEO wasn't getting paid. Second year, possibly the CEO got like 40,000 in that year, and he realized working so many hours is not worth it. And then comes the person who lasts the third year. On the third year, the CEO will take home about 50 to 60K salary. $50,000 to $60,000 salary on the third and fourth year. Let's calculate that for a second. What is the minimum wage in California? It's $20. Well, if they open up the business in California and $20 is the minimum wage, let's talk about how many hours they spent. So let's not even speak about the years that they didn't make anything, but let's talk about the years that they did make something. That's on the third year. So they lost 3 years and now they made $50,000. How many hours do you think a CEO works? Do you think it's 40 hours a week? 40 hours, that's 2,000 hours a year. Do you think that's about right? Like 40 hours a week, a CEO with a startup company? Have you guys seen Elon Musk? The guy is a billionaire. Why? Because he spends most of his time working and the rest of his time sleeping. He was pulling off for weeks 22-hour shifts, then sleeping for 2 hours a night, and sleeping in the factory for 3 years straight. He didn't have a home. He was sleeping on the floor, by the way. He didn't even have a bed. You guys are asking why he's a billionaire? Do you know how much he sacrificed to become a billionaire? He sacrificed time with his kids. The guy has 12 kids from 4 different women. He sacrificed all of that. Doesn't spend time with his family. Doesn't spend time with himself. Do you think as a CEO you have time to spend time with yourself? No, especially not with a startup company. I work 18-hour days. 18-hour days I work. I'm 24/7 working. Look at the time. It is 6:20 p.m. I was up this morning at 2 a.m., which means my days are so long. They're so long, and I'm here filming at 6:20 p.m. I got my coffee, I got my computer, I got my camera crew, I got the cameras. Guys, the lighting, I'm working. For me, it is what it is. But it's a passion that you're willing to die for it. You're not looking at the time because we don't live by the clock. We're CEOs. You want to be big CEO of something? That's what it's going to take. So let's talk about this. Do you think he works 40 hours a week? Come on. You guys know it's not 40 hours. We know that. What about 80 hours a week? Sounds about right. Well, there's 168 hours per week. A normal CEO sleeps about 5 hours. Let's say they slept for 6 hours. Slept for 42 hours. 126 hours left that he's actually awake. Do you think he does not think about the business from the moment that he woke up, while he already went through a whole year that he could have died, then another year where he pulled through, and the third year he ain't making shit, but he's got to make it. So do you think he doesn't think about his job and his business and his tasks and his employees and everybody? Yeah, he thinks about them every single second that he is awake. You want to know something? Let me tell you a secret. He's also thinking about them while he's asleep. He's dreaming about them. Yes, he's dreaming about his employees and his tasks and the things that he needed to do and the emails that he forgot to send out. That's what a CEO does. He is working 24/7. How do I know? Big CEO right here, baby. See that right there? 126 hours. That means that there's 6,500 hours per year that he is working. Well, let's talk about how much money he makes. So let's say he makes $50,000 a year. $50,000 a year on the third year. But he worked 6,500 hours. If you divide 50,000 by 6.5, guys, the guy was making literally nothing. Less than half the minimum wage in California. Do you understand how sad it is to be a top CEO in the first few years? That is $7.6 an hour. $7.60, top CEO after the third year of working in his business. That is what he's making. Doesn't sound like much money, does it? Well, let me share with you. So the first year, he went into debt. The second year, he almost died. The third year, he started to make some money, but it's like $7 an hour. And then after that, the company starts making money. The company starts making money. Well, what are margins of a company? Everybody knows that at the lowest, it's 8 to 10%. So I put here 10. And at the highest, it's 30%. 30% profit. Well, let's say on the fourth year, he made $1 million. $1 million came into the company. How much money is that? That's between $100,000 to $300,000. That's how much money he made. Let's go in the middle. Let's say he made $200,000. Okay? We'll split it. $200,000. How much did he pay in taxes? Taxes, buddy, almost 50%. So turn that 200 into 100. You want to talk about how many hours he worked? He worked 24/7. He worked 6,500 hours for that $100,000. Do we want to calculate that? That's $15 an hour. This is how much money a top CEO makes when he's bringing in $1 million, guys. $1 million a year. And you're thinking, wow, it's $1 million a year. No, guys, $1 million a year. So let's say he went up to $2 million a year. $2 million, guys, it's probably gonna bring him to about $250K. $250K divided by the hours that he's working and the sacrifice and the people he doesn't see and all the loved ones that he doesn't get to hug and be with them on holidays and be with them on the weekends and have with them Shabbat dinners. Guys, no Christmas, no turkey, no Hanukkah, no nothing. Top CEO, all these years are burnt so he could one day become the 1% that they call the big 1%. This is the sacrifice. Takes a real man to do this. Doesn't take much of a man to be here. Takes a little bit more of a man to be here. But to get here and pull through, yeah, takes a big man to do this. I'm not talking about in size. I'm talking about the heart, the mindset, the understanding that nothing can stop you. You have to have a mind that is impenetrable, that nothing can penetrate it, that no enemy can come through. Doesn't matter if it's debt. Doesn't matter if there's a failure. Doesn't matter if you lost something. There's no losses, there's lessons. So if you want to become a top CEO, this is the path you're going to take. And these are the years you're going to need to give. And that is why it's important that you understand the road to success. Because the road to success is always under construction. But the only way for you to get to it is to go through it. You cannot stop in the middle. This right here, guys, this in the middle, that is hell. That right here is hell. Don't stay in hell. You've made it this far. If you're picking and choosing this path, when you get here, don't stay in hell. Get out of hell. and get out of there as quick as you can, but go this way. You never want to fall back. You always want to fall forward. You want to push forward and push through. And that is what it takes to become a top CEO. Because once you pass these numbers here, you pass these numbers, you don't understand how big and astronomical the numbers get. They get extremely large. They get to a point where you have so much money, you will never know how to use it or what to do with it. You will never be able to spend it. Right now, King Zulai brand, let me tell you, we are right here. We were right here multiple times, but we're actually coming down here now. I am making more than this, and I'll tell you why. Because I've had many businesses, so I know how to make money. I know how to take money. I know. That's why I'm already here, because I know how to take money. But I'm actually bigger than this. I'm making much more than $300,000. And for me, it feels like this. Why? Because $300,000 ain't much. That shit ain't shit to me. That doesn't even pay my bills. I spend $80K per month. That doesn't pay my bills. And that's me being conservative right now because I've spent millions of dollars to get into social media. But I don't care. This is the way to do it. I'm pulling through right now. And why am I pulling through? Because I know how to do other businesses that can make me $10 million a year. I don't have to do social media. I know how to make money elsewhere. But I'm here because I gotta teach you guys that at the same time, money will come. Money will come and I will get to the top. Here, I have the opportunity to become a billionaire. To go become a millionaire, I'm already one. Okay, so you have more millions. Okay, so you have 100 million, now you have 110. Oh, in 10 years, I'll have 200 million. Great. It's not that much money. I want to be a billionaire. But once we get to the top, we then reach to a higher place. And that is exactly the way you should think. We're always looking to grow. We're always looking to achieve more. We're always looking to become better. So, if you choose to become a top CEO and you want to be the baddest guy out there, just know you're not going to make money. You're not going to see people. You're going to have to ghost the world. But once you ghost the world long enough, you will too become successful. Good luck on that journey, guys. I hope this was helpful. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And don't forget to hit that notification button where I take it off every single week, killing it, giving you guys as much knowledge as I possibly can so you guys too could get to this level. Good luck.